With Doubtnut, get instant video solutions to all your maths, physics, chemistry, and biology doubts. Just click the image of the question, crop the question, and get instant video solution. Download Doubtnut app today.
In this question, they have showed the relationship between population density NT and the population growth rate R in this graph. Now we have to observe this graph, and then from the graphs given in the options, we have to choose the appropriate population growth pattern which would be obtained if the population is at the densities 1, 2 and 3, which are given over here, which are marked in the first graph. So on the basis of this, we have to select a correct answer. Now we all know that in any population of any species, population density is a factor which cannot remain static, which cannot remain the same for a long period of time. So there are many factors which can result in fluctuation or change in the population density. And over here in this graph, we are seeing a unique relationship in this equation, R equals NT plus 1 by NT. We can see that the growth rate, that is R, is inversely proportional to our population density. This means that during the growth of this population, when the population density is more, then the growth rate is going to decrease. When the population density is less, then at that point the growth rate is going to be greater. So over here 3 points have been given where population density is progressively increasing. It's the least in point 1, then population density at 2 is obviously greater. We can see as we are moving further along our x-axis, and then it is still more at point 3. Now what we have to select over here, what we have to do in this question is we have to select the graphs which are corresponding to the relative population density at these 3 points. So over here in our first graph, we are talking about the absolute density of the population, whereas in the other 4 graphs we are taking the relative density, that is in comparison or in proportion with the initial density. So over here we can see that when the population density is at this point, at point 1, over here the growth rate is increasing, the growth rate is on the rise. So according to the relation that was given to us before, if growth rate is more, that means the population density is going to be relatively less because they are inversely proportional. So we can say that at point 1, because the growth rate is increasing, the relative population density must be decreasing. So out of the given graphs, we can select graph D for population density 1, because over here we can see that with the passage of time the relative density is decreasing. Similarly, when we move forward at point 2, we will see that now at this point the growth rate is coming down, the growth rate is decreasing. So when growth rate is decreasing, this will mean that our population density must be on the rise because both are inversely proportional. So where is the population density increasing? We will select our C graph over here. Population density can be seen to increase with the time. And similarly at point 3, now we can see that the growth rate is not changing very sharply, it is more or less stable. So over here we are going to select our graph B to represent the change in relative density with time. So over here we will select option B as our correct answer, where we can clearly see how the relative density of the population is changing with time. And how we have selected these graphs, what parameters we have used, because over here we have been given a relation R equals NT plus 1 over NT, which means that the population density is going to be relatively less when the growth rate is more, and it is going to be relatively greater when the growth rate is less. So over here option B is our correct answer.
For class 6 to 12, IIT JEE and NEET level. Trusted by more than 5 crore students. Download Doubtnut app today.